So good day everyone. So for this video I would like to do is to perform installing of operating system via our flash drive, this one. And our flash drive has a bootable of Yumi using the Yumi. It is a multi-boot operate type of installing of operating system. First things first is when you are about to install operating system is prepare a flash drive or a file that has an operating system. So now first thing to do is we need to insert our flash drive to our system unit at the back panel, since the back panel is the most safest way because it is directly connected or to our motherboard, to our system. So again, insert your flash drive, and then after that one is you need to restart your PC, but this one we have to install Windows Server, but our version is only at 2008. So first we need to, after inserting our flash drive, we need to restart our PC. Right after restarting our PC, we need to spam delete at our keyboard. Spam delete at our keyboard. Now this one has a ASUS BIOS utility format. So this means that not all BIOS are the same, because a different, what do you call this one? Different motherboard means different setup of BIOS. Okay, so all you need to do is you can also perform this one. You just have to drag your flash drive that has an operating system, or you can go to advanced mode and go to the boot option. This one is the boot option. And next step is, if your BIOS or has this type of feature, you have to go first to the CSM, or the compatibility support module. This means that we need to enable the launch CSM, the compatibility support module configuration, by means that if we don't we call this one, enable this one, the tendency is that even though we perform the process, still the booting of operating system will not proceed when it comes to installing of operating system. So again, we need to enable this one and then go back, and the way is to go to boot option 1. That means that we need to prioritize our flash drive that has an operating system. Again, this one is our name of our operating system is a vendor. Now what if we're about to install an operating system and then you don't know the name of your flash drive? The tendency is that the name of your flash drive, if the components of the PC or the desktop only has one storage device, then indicator that the name of your flash drive is most likely at boot option 2, that one. Now in this format, our server specs has using the M.2, the NVMe M.2 type of storage device, which is higher than the SSD, and SSD is higher also to the HDD. So that means that next step is we need to, again, boot option 1, we need to boot, find the boot, and then enable the CSM compatibility if these set features is the same on your specs. So again, or the BIOS. Again, find the boot option 1, and then next step is we need to find our flash drive. Do not select the UEFI, because those UEFI setup of operating installing of operating is most likely will what do you call this one, available, needed for those like laptops, that one. But since this is just like not a laptop, so we need to select this one, the vendor product, because that's the name of our flash drive, not the UEFI. UEFI is for those laptops version way. So next is we need to exit F10 on your keyboard and enter. That's the thing. And and then save and exit, and okay, and then spam on your keyboard. You need to spam on your keyboard. If you don't need, if you don't spam at your keyboard, the tendency is that the process of installing the operating system will not proceed. So that's the basic, like the so-called loophole when it comes to installing the operating system. So this one, our keyboard is so-called as not detected. So this will also, we call this one, will follow. Again, we need to again do the process, redo the process. So again, restart your your system unit, and then spam delete your keyboard to proceed to the BIOS setting. But also different type of brand means different way of going to the BIOS setting. Means others goes with F2, F10, F12, and so on. Again, we need to, you can also do this one, drag your flash drive that has operating system, and then to your keyboard, F10, enter, and spam space at your keyboard. Now, when you are about to spam space at your keyboard, it should proceed to your way of booting the operating system. But this one, we are about to utilize the multi-boot USB via Yumi. Different way of bootable of flash drive. Others use what they call this one, a Rufus. Others use Rufus. Now, in this setup, we need to select the Windows installer. Now, in this area, we can also find the different type of operating system. There's for server setup, and there's for client or the desktop or the user's setup. But in this way, since our server has a higher specs, means we need to select the server, because the better specs per server, the better performance when it comes to installing or setuping a program to the server. So that's the fundamental. The better specs, the better performance. Now, in this settings, you don't need to modify, but if you want to modify, then you can go modify the language and likely the time, currency format, and the keyboard setup. Again, I just need to next because we're just utilizing the English via United States format. Now, in this setup, we are about to install Enterprise, the Windows Server 2008 R2 Enterprise. You can also utilize the R2 standard if you want to go with that. And as you can see, these following are the Windows setup where we can install our Windows operating system. But since this is PC is for demo purposes or practices or practical ways, then all you need to do is we are about to delete this one. But if it is your, what you call this one, your PC, your personal device, then means that you don't need to format or delete, because we know that you have a important files being stored in that storage device. But also there's no important things in this one. Then we can do is Shift F10 at your keyboard, and then type this part, this one, disk part, no space, DISKPART, this part. And then as you can see, we are about to entering this partition. The next step is we need to type list space disk. So we can see the different storage device. the temporary and the permanent device. First one is this 0 is indicate the M.2, and the other one, this one is our flash drive, which contains our operating system. Now in this portion, we need to select our storage device, which is this 0, the M.2. Select space this space 0. Now the this 0 is now selected. You need to do is to clean. Again, you don't need to proceed in this process if you have unimportant files on your storage. You don't need to proceed in this process. Only for those devices that still no important files or documents whatsoever in that storage. So you have to do is to OK in this one. Then there will be a prompt that says that an error, but and then if you OK this one, okay, we cannot delete, but if you OK and then just delete, and then it will delete everything. So that's the way to delete the existing partition. So next step is we need to new, and then in this size, the MB is the way to partition your storage. Where can we see this one is through our local C, local D, and whatsoever letter is that, the local. In this portion, the 122.104, we need to partition this one into 60/40 partition. Now, how to perform the 60/40 partition is via MB size. Do not perform the GB, just the MB. Now, the MB size times by, if 60%, this means that in decimal it is 0.6%. I mean 0.6 into decimal. So, since I already know the 1122, if again is into 60%, that will be 73263 or 262. Now, in case that you want to undo, that means that you mistakenly delete the size or MB, you just need to new. Again, new. Now, the next step is to partition this one. Now, first is we need to partition. Now, 122.104 times 0.6, that will be 73263. If via multiplying those numbers, the 122.104 times 0.06, and if there's a 0.1, 0.2, just round off directly. Doesn't matter. Now, we need to apply again 73262, and then apply OK. We just have to wait because there's a loading process for the partitioning of the devices. I mean the storage device. And also, as you can see, our storage device is just taking a 120 gigabyte, higher the MB. And then in this portion, this means that we already have a local C. Now, this one is the unallocated space. What happened this one is it will not show up to local or the storage where we can store our files, document, picture, whatsoever, videos. This means that if we don't process this one, the tendency is the partition tool will only be showed at our desktop. Now, in this portion, we need to new and apply directly. This means that the 71.1 GB indicates a primary of type. This means that this one is our local C. Now, rather this one also is our local D. Then the next step is we need to format this one because we don't know yet what happened in this PC, because this is for demo practices. Again, the PC or the desktop I am using is for demo practices or the practical, and then we need to format. Now the next step is we need to select which partition we're about to call this one, about to store our operating system. Now I'm about to store our operating system at our higher specs. This means that this can also help when it comes to updating our operating system to maximize. Again, higher specs, I will be selecting the higher specs. After the format, selecting the higher spec for updates of our OS, and then next. So this will be a long process. If your specs of your computer or your PC is lower, then the process will be low. But at the same time, if higher specs, again, better performance. You can also comment down below if you have a question or correction regarding my performance, so that we can also gather information also. Now this portion will restart the Windows to continue. But if the bootable way is you're about to use is the Yumi, then all you need to do is remove your flash drive and restart, in case that it will return to the process. Okay, if this is what I mean. If this portion will show up again, all you need to do is to remove your flash drive and then restart manually at your system unit. Okay, it will continue the process. And also, please be reminded that after installing our server, you need to install a LAN driver so that you will be able to assign an IP address. Because if you don't you don't install LAN driver, the tendency is you cannot assign IP address at your server, because the server does not have a LAN driver for assigning of IP address. So again, all you need to do again to redo the process, insert your flash drive at your system unit at the back panel, and then you need to restart manually at your system unit. After restarting the system unit, you need to spam directly at your keyboard, delete at the keyboard. Spam delete, and then you can go to the BIOS setting. After the BIOS setting, you need to go to the boot option and find your flash drive. After finding your flash drive, you need to select the boot option 1 and then change into the flash drive that has an operating system. After that one, then you can do is F10 at your keyboard and then enter and spam space, because the space or entering a different case at our keyboard means a loophole to proceed to the process when installing an operating system. After that one, and then you can go, and when it comes to the partition, if that storage device does not contain a files or a document, you all need to do is you need to shift F10, then the command prompt will show up, and then type disk part, DISKPART, and enter. Now you are about to enter this part. Right after entering the disk part, you need to type list space disk, then select the disk, the storage device which determine that is your storage device, like SSD, HDD, or M.2. And then after select space disk space 0, you need to type clean. After that one, you can exit now with our this part area. You need to type exit word, exit EXIT, enter EXIT 2 times, exit, and then you can now leave our command prompt. After that one, you need to delete one only, and then it will directly delete everything. After the deleting of everything, you can now proceed to partition your drives via percentage. So if after the process, and then it will show, if it will show up like this one, you can do is to spam your enter or space so that it will proceed to setuping of the password. But if it does not proceed, then you all need to do is to wait. So after this one, it will be we call this one after this one, it will be the assigning of password of our server. And after installing the password, after assigning of the password, then you can proceed is to install a LAN driver, because again our server does not contain the assigning of IP address, the Ethernet network. So that's all. Thank you. Comment down below if you have a question.